In 2014, the quiet town of Waynesville, Ohio, was forever changed in January 2014 when an unimaginable crime shocked its residents to their core. This small, close-knit community, where violent crime was extremely rare, became the backdrop for a horrifying event that would ripple through the lives of everyone involved. The case centered around two 18-year-old men, Austin Myers and Timothy Mosley, and their victim, Justin Back, a 19-year-old who had recently graduated from high school. Justin was on the verge of embarking on a promising future, having enlisted in the U.S. Navy and eagerly preparing to leave for basic training in just a few weeks. Justin was widely admired for his kindness, hard work, and ambition. Friends and family described him as a young man with a bright future, someone who was always willing to lend a helping hand. His brutal and senseless murder not only left his loved ones devastated, but also left an entire community grappling with how such violence could erupt so close to home. Justin had known Austin from school, though they were more acquaintances than close friends. Despite this casual connection, Austin and his newfound companion, Timothy Mosley, saw Justin as a target for their sinister plan. Timothy, a recent addition to Austin's social circle, shared in a scheme born out of greed and desperation, one that would ultimately end in tragedy. What began as a plot to rob Justin's home escalated into an act of unthinkable violence, forever altering the lives of everyone it touched. In 2014, 19-year-old Justin Back disappeared from the home he shared with his parents. It was also discovered that their family safe had been broken into, and a gun and cash were missing.
How much money did you think was going to be there?
Also said a good couple thousand. So we were thinking a quick job in and out from make some money.
Neighbors reported seeing two 18-year-olds, Austin Myers and Timothy Mosley, leaving the area around the time of Justin's disappearance. They also mentioned seeing the teens putting a large, heavy object into the trunk of their car. Justin's family quickly realized something was wrong when they couldn't get in touch with him. His father reported him missing, and police launched an investigation. The search for Justin intensified as police interviewed friends, neighbors, and anyone who had last seen him. It wasn't long before Austin and Timothy became prime suspects.
19-year-old Timothy Mosley and a former classmate of Justin's, 19-year-old Austin Myers, both were arraigned today and denied bond. Yesterday was in
Their behavior during interviews raised red flags, and forensic evidence began to link them to the crime. DNA evidence, surveillance footage, and witness statements painted a grim picture of their involvement. As investigators pieced together the events that occurred in January 2014, more chilling details emerged. The premeditation of the crime became clear, and the senseless brutality of their actions left law enforcement determined to bring them to justice.
We, the jury, being impaneled and duly sworn, do hereby find the aggravating circumstance does outweigh the mitigating factors presented in this case by proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Timothy refused to answer any questions from the detective, stating that he needed to consult with a lawyer before saying anything. His silence left the detectives with little choice but to move on to the next suspect. They turned their attention to Austin, hoping he might be more cooperative or offer some insight into what had happened. With time being critical in solving the case, the detectives knew they had to act quickly to piece together the events leading up to Justin's disappearance. Austin initially refused to speak with the detective, maintaining his silence and showing no interest in cooperating. However, after being left alone in the interrogation room for some time, he began to grow anxious. With the weight of the situation sinking in, Austin seemed to realize the seriousness of the charges he was facing. Eventually, he decided to break his silence and share his version of events, hoping it might help his case or shift the blame elsewhere. Austin whispered that while they were hanging out with Justin, Timothy had asked for a drink. As Justin opened the refrigerator, Timothy had used a piece of wire in an attempt to strangle him from behind. Austin explained that he and Timothy had gone to Justin's house to hang out, but out of nowhere, Timothy attacked and killed Justin. Afterward, Timothy opened the family safe, took the cash and gun, and instructed Austin to help him get rid of the body. Austin said he had no idea why Timothy murdered Justin, but speculated that it might have something to do with the safe in the home. While Austin was giving his account, Timothy, who was in the next room, overheard through the thin walls. As soon as he heard Austin's version, Timothy immediately requested to speak with the detective. His version of events was similar to Austin's, but in Timothy's telling, Austin was the mastermind behind the entire plan. Timothy stated that he and Austin were in urgent need of money and had noticed a large safe in Justin's home, which they believed contained a significant amount of cash. Since Justin wasn't attending school and didn't have a job, they came up with a plan to kill him and dispose of his body in order to take the money. Timothy told the detectives that after they killed Justin, Austin used the gun he found in the safe to shoot Justin's body multiple times to make sure he was dead. Initially, Austin had planned to kill not only Justin, but also his parents. And if he had gotten away with that, he intended to kill a local drug dealer as well. The detectives believed Timothy's account that Austin had been desperate for money because he refused to get a job. They thought Austin had come up with a plan to kill Justin, take whatever cash was in the safe, and then dispose of the body. With this new information, the detectives decided to return and speak with Austin once more. Both teens planned the murder by buying materials to create a garrote and purchasing chemicals to accelerate the decomposition process. They went to all this trouble for just $70 and the risk of facing 2 first-degree murder charges. After killing Justin, Austin and Timothy loaded his body into Justin's car and drove to a wooded area in Preble County, Ohio. There, they dumped his body into a ditch and attempted to cover it with leaves and debris. They then returned to Justin's house, attempting to clean up the evidence of their crime and retrieve the safe they had initially come for. However, to their dismay, the safe didn't contain the valuables they had imagined. Inside, they found only personal papers and sentimental items, cruel irony in an already senseless act. Despite their efforts to cover their tracks, Austin and Timothy left behind incriminating evidence. Witnesses spotted them near Justin's home.
I was following.
You're the muscle.
Pretty much.
Never felt like you hit bone or anything like where it was tough. It was just
It was in and out.
Really.
I had enough time. I stabbed him. I don't know exactly. No.
During questioning, they initially blamed each other, each trying to minimize their own role in the crime. However, Timothy eventually broke down and confessed to the stabbing, claiming it was part of a plan they had devised together. Austin, on the other hand, maintained his innocence, insisting that he had no part in the murder and that Timothy acted alone.
Tim cooperates, Austin doesn't. Tim tells the truth, Austin lies. Tim tries to come in here and testify and take ownership of everything that happened.
Both teens were charged and convicted of first-degree murder. Timothy Mosley accepted a plea deal, confessing to the murder in exchange for a life sentence. His cooperation spared him from the death penalty, but it also sealed Austin's fate. Austin Myers chose to go to trial, where prosecutors portrayed him as the mastermind behind the crime. They argued that while Timothy carried out the stabbing, it was Austin who orchestrated the plan and encouraged the murder to eliminate any witnesses. The defense attempted to paint Austin as a follower, claiming he was manipulated by Timothy and had no intention of killing Justin. The jury, however, was unconvinced. They found Austin guilty of aggravated murder, kidnapping, and other charges.
He says you shot him, and he's very convincing. Did you shoot the gun, or did he?
His sentence was influenced by his continued lies to the police and his refusal to take responsibility for his actions. In 2014, he was sentenced to death, becoming the youngest person on Ohio's death row at the time. The aftermath of this case left a profound impact on all parties involved. Justin Back's family was left heartbroken, mourning the loss of a son and brother who had his entire life ahead of him. They described him as kind, hard-working, and full of dreams, qualities that made his murder even more devastating. For Austin Myers and Timothy Mosley, their actions led to lifelong consequences. Timothy will spend the rest of his life in prison, while Austin remains on death row, his legal team continuing to file appeals in an attempt to reduce his sentence. The case also brought attention to the issue of youth violence and the consequences of peer pressure, greed, and poor decision-making. How could two young men, with their whole lives ahead of them, commit such a senseless act? This question continues to haunt those who followed the case. The case of Austin Myers and Timothy Mosley stands as a chilling reminder of the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of violence. Justin Back's life was cut short due to a senseless act driven by greed and desperation, leaving a void that can never be filled. For the residents of Waynesville, this case served as a wake-up call, shattering the illusion of safety in their quiet town. It also sparked conversations about the importance of recognizing warning signs in young people and addressing the root causes of violence before they escalate into tragedy. As the years pass, the memory of Justin Back lives on, a poignant reminder of the preciousness of life and the importance of making choices guided by compassion and integrity. His family continues to honor his legacy, ensuring that his story is never forgotten. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the tragic case of Austin Myers and Timothy Mosley. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Let us know your thoughts on this case in the comments below.